Panasonic just made an announcement of 6 II that says date 22 February of year 2022. There will be a new launch, their M4 flagship camera, the GH6. If we count from the release date of the GH5, it's entirely 5 years apart. Why did it take so long? I think there are two main reasons. The first is the GH5 was already very good, or even with the technology today, the development of the M4 has reached the bottleneck. So the second reason is the solution to the first problem. And finally, Panasonic gets a breakthrough with the GH6. Simply and mainly of the breakthrough is, of course, the picture quality. This should be a really good achievement, and so finally they could launch a new flagship. And regarding the picture quality, there are mainly 5 aspects. Resolution, frame rate, whether it's still photos or video, there should be a significant increase. The third is the usable ISO. Does it really enrich the performance of low-light shooting? The fourth is, I always mention, the dynamic range and the latitude. And the last item is, a bit vague and subjective, the color and texture science, which may be hardly to justify, but the first 4 could be verified by objective standards. Let us have a look on the lead spec first. And you may ask again, the camera is not yet available, and so how can I comment on it? Yes, just a preview based on the lead spec. And just as the same as the previous Canon R5C episode, it is my preview. From the third row, it told that it can shoot DCI 10-bit 422 60p video. DCI is 17:9 movie. I remember that the GH5 can also shoot 4K 60p, but only with 10-bit 420, and now it can do 60p with 10-bit 422. Of course, it's an advancement. The high-speed frame rate can achieve 120p now, but it didn't emphasize 10-bit 422, so I suggest it will be just 10-bit 420. And actually, I feel more interest to this new 5.7K video option. And again, it should be 10-bit 420 only. I want to talk about this 5.7K first. And we calculate with the 4:3 ratio with the horizontal width of 5.7K. The vertical resolution will be 4.2K, and the whole resolution is 34K megapixels. Another advancement again, since the GH5 can only provide 20 megapixels. And what is the concept of 24 megapixels? And most of the full-frame or APS-C cameras today are providing a resolution of 24 megapixels. And now the M4 finally catch up the same resolution standard. Nevertheless, I will say that this improvement is not a big advance for video shooting. The pixel-to-pixel imaging method would be applied for 5.7K video shooting. Regarding the 4K, it will still apply the oversampling method. So far at this moment, even in the cinema, only Full HD resolution is required. So the compression from 4K to 1080p is good enough. And will there be any big improvement from 5.7K? We have to test it to verify, but I don't think that will make any big help. And so, regarding the improvement over the video, I think it's limited. The only big improvement is we can then shoot 4K 60p with 10-bit 422. Furthermore, I think that in a short period of future, the GH6 can shoot with 5.7K RAW video after the firmware update. That will be the most attractive item to me, since at this moment, apart from the 8K RAW video from the Canon R5C and Nikon Z9, as well as its own S1H can shoot 5.9K RAW, and now we can have one more option of 5.7K RAW, which comes from an M4 sensor. If you add on a speed booster, you may then also achieve a feeling and result similar to the APS-C or even full frame. And here, what actually brings us with this 5.7K horizontal resolution? in terms of the ratio with the full frame, it is actually a 12K sensor. Of course, right now, 12K video camera is quite rare on the market. One of that is the Blackmagic Ursa. This Ursa 12K is equipped with an APS-C sensor. And so, in terms of the pixel size, the M4 First GH6 would be a bit better. Now, I will try to preview the dynamic range and the latitude of this GH6 and with the reference of the Blackmagic Ursa. A test also run by the CDD.com, and the dynamic range is 12 stops. Not bad indeed. As I've mentioned in the previous episode of R5C, most of the cameras right now are making 10 to 12 stops of dynamic range. And so I guess the GH6 will make 10 stops when shooting the 709 or Cine Night Gamma, and achieve the range of 12 stops when shooting with Vlog. Not really outstanding, but will be on a similar level with the other machines. The latitude of the Blackmagic Ursa is about 7 stops, and so I also estimate the GH6 will have a range of about 6 to 7 stops of latitude. And since the GH6 is coming later than the Ursa, it may be a bit better because of a bit larger pixel size. Nonetheless, the Ursa is having a Super 35 sensor, so I guess they will have a very similar performance regarding the dynamic range and latitude. For the ISO performance, in my memory, GH5 is okay with 1600. A bit of denoise has to be applied for ISO 3200. 6400 is better to be avoided. The biggest improvement now for this 24 megapixel sensor is not significantly better, and instead it can keep the same performance with the past 20 megapixels. So 1600 must be good, and maybe slightly improved for ISO 3200. But I will doubtful that with this pixel size, can it still give us a usable and beautiful ISO of 6400? Of course, all have to be verified later with the real machine. Most people will ask if there will be a better autofocus performance. Of course, we are expecting Panasonic will finally apply the face detection method for autofocus. But a previous interview with its management staff indicate that Panasonic will still wholly committed to their DFD contrast detection system. So there won't be any face detection. But I will still guess, since they've spent a long 5 years' time to reach the GH6, there should be a clear improvement. I guess the performance of its autofocus will be at least better than the previous models. And again, it has to be verified later with the real machine. And regarding the price, it's guessed with about US dollar of 2500. For this price, you will get a camera with 24 megapixel sensor, the highest resolution of 5.7K video in 10-bit 420, 4K DCI 10-bit 422 60p, and the highest video frame rate to 120 frames per second with 10-bit 420. And I believe that with about half year's time, there will be a firmware upgrade, and then it can shoot 5.7K RAW video. The usable ISO will be around 1600 to 3200. And there will be a 12 stops of dynamic range and about 6 stops of shooting latitude. That's all my prediction.